What colour combination should I wear to a spring garden wedding? And this colour combination is being created specifically for men. Hello, I'm Jane Harbison, and today we're going to put together a colour combination that you can wear to a wedding, and specifically a wedding in a garden in spring. And the reason I define that so specifically is when we do so, when we define our problems or define our opportunities, they are so much easier to solve that way. Okay, so I am going to go through this 5-colour method with you. It provides a framework that makes choosing colours less overwhelming. In addition, what we're going to do a little bit differently today, we're going to layer in what I call charisma colours. When I talk about charisma colours, I mean those colours that bring warmth and competence, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But firstly, I'll go over this 5-colour method. There's a bold colour, there's a complementary colour, a neutral colour, a light colour, and a dark colour. Now, the bold colour can be a bright colour, which you typically associate with being bold. But your bold might be a muted colour, but it's the boldest of all 5. So there's context to that bold. What you put down there as the bold in there will dictate how soft or bright the rest of the colour palette will be. The complementary, I always put as complementary to the bold. And the reason I do that is it makes the colour palette interesting. And if you don't know what complementary means, I've just got a couple of classic colour schemes here. And complementary is here, if you can see that. And complementary is the colour that sits opposite it on the colour wheel. So here I've got purple, and opposite that is a yellow. Having a colour wheel handy when you're putting these colour combinations together is really useful to have. You get this when you have the fabric formula, you get all these little templates to use once you find out what your colour type is, and you can have a play with your colours. The next one is a neutral, so you've got those whites and creams and fawns, really soft blues, those neutral colours that bring the rest of the palette together. Then we have a light colour and a dark colour. And again, those lights and darks are in context of everything else that we've got on that table. Now, I am going to use a spring type colour palette, which means your colour type is spring, and these are the colours that suit you. And again, you will get these tabs when you do the fabric formula, and you cut these out and you have a play with them on this table. I have already gone through these colours, and I have chosen 2 combinations that I'm going to show today that I think work beautifully at a spring garden wedding. Now, I've chosen a couple of colour schemes that we'll go through, but before I go into those, I will explain what I mean by charisma colours. So I'll just put that aside. Charisma I first learnt about from Vanessa Van Edwards. And I first learnt about the components of charisma being warmth and competence. Someone with charisma doesn't necessarily have an even balance of warmth and competence, but they know when to use warmth and use competence in relation to the context and the intent of the event. And so they're continually getting the right balance and intuitively understand what is required in an environment. With this in mind, I then applied colours to it. There are warm colours and there are competent colours. Firstly, warm colours are colours like light olives and mustards and soft blues and rusts and taupes and pinks. And those are the sorts of colours that we would wear if we want to bring warmth to a situation. So if we want to bring happiness and understanding and an open ear, and the mood is about celebration. On the other side of it, we have competence colours, and those sorts of colours are your deep navies, your deep olives and dark greens, your whites your greys and your blacks. So bringing those into an outfit adds an element of competence, or the perception of competence. So I want us to take this into consideration when we are building a colour palette. Do we want lots of warmth, or do we want lots of competence? And the decision on the balance of those depends upon the intent and the context. For a spring wedding in a garden, the intent is celebration for me. You're there to celebrate the union of two good friends. And the context is a garden wedding in spring. So with that in mind, we're going to build a colour combination that is suitable for celebrating at a garden wedding in spring. And so there's an element of warmth, and there's potentially an element of competence that you want to bring to it, particularly if you want to impress the bridesmaids. But you don't want to be overpowering in that competence. So this is the combination I've put together. So our bold is pink. I think pink at a spring wedding in the garden is a lovely place to start. My complementary colour to that is that dark green, and that's where the competence colour comes in. So not only are we making this outfit interesting in the fact that we've got two complementary colours, but we're also balancing that warmth and competence as well. The neutral colour that I've got there is just the soft cream, and then the light, I'm bringing in another pink, just a light pink, and then a dark in relation to that light, could be a tan. So how this might play out in an outfit could be tan belt and shoes, a pink jacket, and you've got these three colours in a pocket square, for example, and maybe a green tie. Or you could have a green jacket with a soft pink pant, white shirt, and tan shoes. So you can start playing with the combinations. Now, if you just did these three in your outfit, it's all warmth. There's no competence built in that. If you want to impress the bridesmaids, bring in a little of that competent green. Now, the second one I have here is I am going to switch that tan out for another darker pink. And again, this is even warmer still, but still when you bring them over, they still can make quite a lovely outfit. You can play with those. You could even just have, could get really bold, or you could soften that up with that. Put those there. Make a statement. Depending on how you're feeling on the day. and how it matches your personality, of course. So this combination makes a beautiful colour combination for two reasons. It suits the event, and even if you want to do that one, it suits the event, and it also layers in that extra element of those charisma colours in the warmth and the competence. So if you're struggling with what to wear to a spring wedding in the garden, this is a great colour combination. I guarantee you'll have interesting conversations and you'll pique the interest of all the girls in the room.